Are you wondering why the path you've been walking feels so much harder than everyone else's? Or why you've faced constant trials just when you thought you were finally finding peace? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into a message that is meant specifically for those of you who have felt isolated, tested, and pushed to your limits. You haven't been struggling because you were forgotten. You've been undergoing a divine screening process, and I am here to tell you that you passed. In this video, you are going to learn exactly why God is calling you right now, what those tests were actually for, and the specific instructions you need to listen for as you step into your true purpose. Stay with me until the end, because by the time we finish, your perspective on your entire life is going to shift. The silence you have experienced lately was never an absence of divine presence, but rather a deliberate pause designed to remove the distractions of the world. In this quiet space, your inner voice has grown stronger, allowing you to hear the subtle whispers of intuition that were previously drowned out by the chaos of daily life. This period of isolation served as a spiritual sanctuary where the noise of society was muted so that your soul could finally align with a higher frequency. This divine appointment is not a random occurrence, but a carefully timed intersection between your readiness and your destiny. Every moment of loneliness was a strategic move to ensure that when the call finally came, you would be standing alone, uninfluenced by the opinions or expectations of others. You are being summoned into a new season where the answers you seek will no longer come from external sources, but from the direct connection you have cultivated in the stillness. You must realize that the void you felt was actually a clearing of the old, to make room for the monumental shift that is about to take place. The universe does not speak in the middle of a storm. It waits for the calm that follows so that every instruction is received with absolute clarity. This appointment marks the end of your wandering and the beginning of a structured path where every step is guided by a wisdom that transcends human understanding. The tests of the past were not meant to break you, but to strip away the layers of ego and fear that would have hindered your progress in this next phase. By passing through the fire of refinement, you have emerged with a spirit that is resilient enough to carry the weight of the mission ahead. The forge was necessary because the calling on your life requires a strength that can only be forged under immense pressure and heat. Your endurance through these trials has proven that you are capable of holding the authority that is now being bestowed upon you. God does not give a great assignment to someone who has not demonstrated the discipline to stay the course when things get difficult. Now that you have survived the furnace, you stand as a vessel that is purified and ready to be used for a purpose far greater than your personal desires. Each challenge you faced was a specific lesson designed to build the character traits necessary for your future leadership. The losses were lessons in detachment, the betrayals were lessons in discernment, and the delays were lessons in patience. Without these experiences, you would lack the depth of perspective required to navigate the complexities of the heights you are destined to reach. The transformation you have undergone is permanent, as the version of you that entered the test is not the version that has emerged. You have traded your fragile armor for a spiritual resilience that cannot be shaken by the opinions of the world. This new foundation is what will sustain you as you move from the background into the light of your true calling. As you stand at the threshold of this new era, recognize that the struggle was the prerequisite for the success that is now arriving. The pain of the process was simply the cost of the power you now possess. You are no longer just a participant in life. You are a proven warrior who has earned the right to lead, to manifest, and to walk in the fullness of divine favor. Recognizing the call begins with a profound sense of inner knowing that no longer allows you to fit into the spaces you once occupied comfortably. You may notice that your interests have shifted, your tolerance for superficiality has vanished, and a persistent quiet pull towards something greater occupies your thoughts day and night. This is not mere ambition. It is the spiritual marker of the chosen, a soul-level recognition that you have a specific role to play in a much larger divine tapestry. One of the most distinct signs of being chosen is the frequency of synchronicities that seem to follow your every move. You might see repeating numbers, encounter the same messages in different contexts, or meet people who deliver exactly the word you needed to hear at the perfect time. These are the breadcrumbs of the divine, intended to confirm that you are on the right path and that the heavens are actively communicating with you, guiding you toward your ultimate purpose. Being chosen often comes with a history of feeling like an outsider or a black sheep within your own circles. This sense of not belonging was a protective measure to prevent you from being fully programmed by the world's limited expectations. Your unique perspective and your refusal to conform are the very tools God will use to bring change, as your spirit was designed to disrupt the status quo and introduce a higher way of living and thinking. The call is often accompanied by an unshakable sense of urgency and a renewed clarity regarding your life's mission. While others may be content with the mundane, you feel a burning desire to fulfill a specific task or to solve a particular problem in the world. This internal fire is the fuel provided for your journey, ensuring that you have the passion and the energy required to overcome any obstacles that may arise as you step into your role. Ultimately, the most definitive sign is the peace that surpasses understanding, even in the midst of uncertainty. When you finally acknowledge the call, the internal conflict you've been feeling for years begins to dissolve. You start to realize that every strange occurrence and every difficult trial was leading to this moment of realization, confirming that you are protected, supported, and specifically handpicked for the work that lies ahead. Your graduation day signifies the official closing of a chapter defined by struggle and the opening of one defined by authority. The heavy atmosphere of the testing season is lifted, replaced by a sense of lightness and momentum that you haven't felt in years. This transition isn't just a change in circumstances. It is a spiritual promotion where the lessons you learned in the dark are now ready to be applied in the light of your new success. Moving from trial to triumph requires a conscious decision to stop looking back at the wreckage of your past. The wilderness phase served its purpose in teaching you survival and faith, but you cannot inhabit the promised land while still carrying the mindset of a wanderer. You must now embrace the identity of a victor, recognizing that the scars you carry are no longer wounds but medals of honor that prove your readiness for the throne. The beginning of your active assignment means that the waiting period is officially over, and it is time for action. Doors that were previously locked will now swing open with minimal effort, and resources that were withheld will suddenly become available. This is the universe's way of signaling that your training is complete, and that you have the divine green light to move forward with the visions and dreams that were once kept on hold. In this new phase of triumph, you will find that your words carry a new weight and your presence commands a different level of respect. This shift occurs because you have been validated through the fire, and your spiritual rank has increased. People will begin to notice the change in your aura, gravitating toward your wisdom and strength, as you have become a living testament to what happens when someone remains faithful through the most grueling of tests. As you step into this active spiritual assignment, understand that your triumph is not just for your own benefit, but serves as a beacon of hope for others. Your graduation is a public demonstration of divine favor, proving that the tests were worth the reward. You are now entering a season of harvest where the seeds of patience and perseverance you planted in tears will finally result in a bountiful and overflow-filled life. Accepting the mantle of the chosen requires a profound realization that your life is no longer solely your own. This weight of the crown represents a shift from personal ambition to a higher service, where every action you take ripples through the lives of those you are meant to lead. It is a commitment to walking a narrow path of discipline, knowing that with great spiritual authority comes an equal demand for accountability and a steadfast dedication to the truth. To carry this responsibility, you must cultivate a level of integrity that remains unshakable even when no one is watching. The chosen are held to a higher standard because they serve as the bridge between the divine and the physical world. Any crack in your character can compromise the mission, so you must continuously refine your heart and mind, ensuring that your motives remain pure and your ego stays subservient to the greater purpose you serve. This crown is not a symbol of status or superiority, but a call to the deepest form of humility and sacrifice. You will often be required to put the needs of the collective above your own comfort, acting as a protector and a guide for those who are still lost in the dark. True spiritual royalty is defined by how much one is willing to give, not how much one expects to receive, demanding a heart that is ready to serve without seeking validation. Walking in this calling means you must be prepared for the isolation that often accompanies high-level leadership. Not everyone will understand the weight you carry or the decisions you must make under divine direction. This burden requires a thick skin and a soft heart, allowing you to withstand the criticism of the world while remaining compassionate enough to heal the very people who might misunderstand your path. Ultimately, the responsibility of the chosen is to act as a living example of divine light in a chaotic world. Your life becomes the blueprint for others to follow, showing them that it is possible to overcome the greatest trials and emerge with grace. By embracing this weight, you transform the pressure of the crown into the power of transformation, becoming a vessel through which hope and healing can flow to all corners of the earth. Tuning into the divine frequency requires a radical commitment to inner stillness in a world designed to keep you distracted. You must learn to silence the external noise of social media, societal expectations, and the constant chatter of the mind to create a sanctuary where the voice of the Creator can be heard. This clarity is not found in the loud or the spectacular, but in the subtle whispers that arise when you are finally quiet enough to listen. To hear His voice clearly, you must develop the discernment to distinguish between your own anxious thoughts and true spiritual guidance. Divine instructions often come as a sense of peace, a sudden spark of knowing, or a gentle nudge that persists over time. By practicing mindfulness and spiritual hygiene, you clear the mental clutter, allowing you to recognize the resonance of truth when it enters your consciousness, guiding your steps with absolute precision. Consistency is the key to maintaining this connection, as spiritual hearing is a muscle that must be exercised daily. Setting aside dedicated time for prayer, meditation, or silent reflection builds a bridge between your spirit and the divine. As you sharpen this focus, the frequency becomes clearer and more reliable, turning what was once a faint signal into a constant guiding presence that informs your every decision and move. You must also be willing to follow the instructions you receive, even when they don't make sense to the logical mind. Faith is the antenna that catches the signal, but obedience is what keeps the channel open. When you act on the small prompts you hear, you demonstrate that you are a trustworthy steward of divine wisdom, which in turn leads to more significant revelations and deeper insights into your life's roadmap. The more you align yourself with this frequency, the more your external reality will begin to mirror your internal harmony. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people and encountering the right opportunities without forced effort. This state of flow is the natural result of a life tuned into the divine, where you are no longer guessing your way through the world but walking confidently in the light of direct revelation. Stepping into your divine calling requires a total shedding of your past identity, as the person you used to be cannot survive in the atmosphere of your future. You must let go of the labels, the failures, and even the small victories of your previous life, recognizing that they served their purpose, but are now obsolete. This process is like a serpent shedding its skin. It may feel uncomfortable and leave you feeling vulnerable, but it is the only way to allow the new, more powerful version of yourself to emerge and breathe. The version of you that was broken by past traumas and limited by self-doubt has no place in the territory you are about to occupy. If you try to carry your old insecurities into your new assignment, they will act as anchors, preventing you from soaring to the heights God has prepared for you. You are being asked to divorce yourself from your old narrative and stop identifying with the versions of you that were rejected or misunderstood, as those chapters are now permanently clues. Shedding the old also means releasing the people and environments that are tethered to your past self. Often those who knew you in your previous season will try to keep you trapped in that old identity, because your growth makes them uncomfortable. You must have the courage to walk away from dynamics that require you to play small, understanding that your loyalty must lie with your future purpose, rather than your past comfort zones or social obligations. This transformation is not just a mental shift, but a spiritual rebirth that changes the very core of your being. As you release the old habits and thought patterns that once defined you, you create a vacuum that the divine will fill with new strength, new wisdom, and a new sense of authority. You are becoming a stranger to your former self, and while this may feel like a loss, it is actually the ultimate liberation from the chains of a life you have outgrown. By the time this process is complete, you will look in the mirror and recognize a warrior who is no longer burdened by the weight of what used to be. You are entering your new season with a clean slate and a purified spirit, ready to write a story that is dictated by divine intent rather than human history. Your past was the classroom, but your present is the battlefield, and you cannot fight today's battles wearing yesterday's worn-out armor. The blueprint for your new life is being revealed in stages, requiring you to trust in a strategic plan that often defies conventional logic. Unlike the world's way of planning, which relies on visible data and predictable outcomes, your divine instructions will come through intuition and sudden downloads of insight. You must prepare your mind to accept non-traditional paths and out-of-the-box strategies that may seem unconventional to those around you, but are perfectly designed for your specific success. This new blueprint is a highly personalized map that highlights the unique strengths you've developed during your testing phase. God is not calling you to replicate someone else's success, but to pioneer a path that only you can walk. The instructions will be precise, targeting the specific areas where you are meant to bring light and change, ensuring that your energy is never wasted on tasks that do not align with your primary mission. As the details of your assignment unfold, you will notice that the timing is impeccable and the connections are supernatural. You are being guided to move with a strategic patience, acting only when the signal is clear and resting when the path is obscured. This rhythmic way of living ensures that you are always in alignment with the cosmic flow, allowing you to achieve massive results with a fraction of the effort you used to exert in your old life. Preparing for these instructions means being willing to unlearn everything the world taught you about making things happen. You are moving from a state of striving to a state of receiving, where your primary job is to stay positioned and ready for the next move on the chessboard. The blueprint will require you to be bold and decisive, taking leaps of faith that look like risks to others but are actually the most secure steps you could ever take. Ultimately, this divine strategy is designed to position you in a place of maximum impact and minimal resistance. When you follow the blueprint exactly as it is revealed, you will find that the universe conspires to support you, providing the funding, the favor, and the followers you need. Your new life is not a series of random events, but a masterpiece of design that is finally being unveiled, one strategic instruction at a time. As we bring this message to a close, remember that the silence you endured was not a sign of abandonment, but a mark of preparation. You have survived the fire, you have passed the test, and now the heavens are waiting for your movement. Your life is no longer a series of random struggles. It is a divine mission that is finally being activated. I want to hear from you. Which of these signs resonated with your soul today? Does your path finally make sense now that you see it through the lens of being chosen? To show that you've made it to the very end of this journey with me, and to help this message reach more chosen ones who are still searching for answers in the dark, please type the word calling in the comments below. By doing this, you are not only supporting the channel but also claiming your readiness to step into your purpose. As you walk away from this video, carry this truth with you. God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Go forth with confidence, for your time has finally come.